This Wednesday, 19th, 2015. This is 8:19 here in Buenos Aires. I remember these elements. Went yesterday and day before, and I were supposedly to euphorically hike at Directorio San Juan, actually, Aveno. And this is the element that I thought about making, which it is not for what I saw, but I saw one of 7 and an extra, which were not in the place. They had it not. So 7 EHs void this of 5 and were one of 3, which were strongest at the appearance and really good material for the making this. Maybe it would be better. The idea is holding this 3 on top for the bands that comes like a pilot's belt, and from down with some hooks, the flat ones, to making the holding like a backpack, styling different. I don't like this, but I'm gonna see if I can put something in the middle that I already got. Nice element, and this for the making appears that Melech Gavabas wanted I to do. And using this, that yesterday I just spent 70 pesos in this extra elements of leather that nobody wants, which is a good element to working with some ink staining and giving some different color for the rustic and eliminating the traces of what it were production line or something around this. And this is something which also may I do shoes for my own. Alright, not sure, but let's see what can we do. I done it first, remains and still on, and I couldn't sewing yesterday with this, so it is amateur, familiar, and it really doesn't work no much. So 70. I ended this element yesterday. I got to work in prolixing. I got to making the prolixing for the making my supper backpack. And it's a weird thing, and I got to do something extra. Sorry, this should work, but I'm not sure if it will. Alright. Keeping the day. Let me see my focus. Just a moment. And maybe I need something to make it better, right? Okay. Then, the reality for this, we keep in the problem, we keep in the and we have serious problems. And we got to work in a very emergency. This is the reality of gender, violence, and certain other things, which is class of every element to understanding. Whenever we say gender violence, there happens the domestic element of view. The woman's, most of all, rape. And in the middle of the dedicated is much offense not talking about men's or kids' rapes, but for criminal, delivered, not making a child. So the elementary on the what it means criminology, much offense is better on the dedicatedly bestest scores than the worstest to the being off of the what it means of qualificating At the reality of criminology, deliver the best ever made for and the worst ever situation that happens on around. It's not easy to tell a man's rape. And it's not easy to tell a kid's rape. But it is gender violence as well. Especially whenever it implies as premeditation. Especially whenever it implies as elimination. Realities of the days are implied in so much other aspects that there is a chronologic, sorry for the accent, that's worse, a clear for the terminology, and not terminology as well, and terminology, if you want. For the implies that is wat men ik ga besproken iets katten whenever the best ever of the criminologists is spoken for some class of a black and have spoken in which silently much of them shouldn't see terminates. So suddenly every form of black have destroys the foundations of the houses which as natural, right, in the U.S., the most of suburbans, not all, but most of suburbans are wood built with. And whenever you don't see it, your house is for the demolition and you can build it up all over again. Then, reflexach man gaat gerisidisch voor plezierig, dat geeft vast van plezach, dat is chaplets mogelijk in iets wat ze maken. Dechelachi met blechbechelachi is zo gedispoten met letting met een fachiris en vetsi termets. Dat ik ga met blechbechit shopletig man zeggen, gedelachi dat van een plesje wat blechnacha gescheft maken. So suddenly in the middle of the soul you understand the foundations. You are coming down with the building. And the situation is how do you fix without it? I mean, you need the building up, and you are not going to have it. What do you do? Dat le zeggen we zegt niet gaan aan Simon leggen we stad le tesho dat zich het mosim. En litre verre zeggen aan de twee van ze op Latijn religiana. In reformen zeggen dat. Berlicham op lang registrering. In social het blesfort het blesfach lachim kuma plezant. Dus is lettig het blesfach in de set. Right? Then in Badly self array self moxie sanasim. Sorry. Like we've been saying, the criteria are elements 4. Theoric, you have your theoric instance. So your theoric moment delivers into a plausible reality. So you establish a criterial point, but you have criteria which are not exactly the objective for the reality. So you analyze a series of theoremic elementals for the predictamatic mankerot. You proceed at the producing the most ever clearing for what can possibly that be, plausibly and refutably. So you analyze the complete of the table, the whole elements. In the middle of this, the refutable, you understand that much of them is impossible that to happen, but in the middle of the impossible, you don't dismiss the complete if you are acute criminologist analyzing what it can be and implies a crime. Because of whenever you say impossible, you are wasting that a crime much of times it's not a condition of blanco technique. The crime has stages that you don't see. And the impossible can become the most of the course of the situations that you unthinkably will never think around. And then, at the clear of this, Ockham is not representing criminology, neither Machiavelli at all, and neither Ben Green. So if you are a criminologist, you can understand that you are for the implicing what it is the real crime to found and what it is the descriptive. Sorry for descriptive. You understand the scheme fund whenever he writes in classic Hamasimos Sebat. You make the description, you produce the install rating for the pattern and what the pattern delivers into the associating, but the association is not whenever you don't have the acknowledge on the impossible, but there is. But not so breaking your head up, not so making, my God, I cannot with this, it's not possible, and don't you tell me that a freak with a holy sanctity face, like looking as if the eyes will ever come out and making a smile in a plaza groping, in the middle of the street, sometimes with a uniform and a hat and saying, hey there, and being with the ladies in the middle of the street is going to do something like that. Trains for the making the best, facing for the I'm going to win. But the problem is there are people that are ill for the being canyons, being spotless. Or, like in Spanish around, meat for bullets of, you understand, the Oster, the best ever. So suddenly, we don't need. Bedis is poplas machachaline. That's the truth. This is the most ever instant where we should ever think as the clear of the soul to giving us a blend of the spot that says the spot that the Martin sense. Then, Shlikad lech masechali disop le desparan la sevan. Ben la sevan. Spotle that machachinim. In both this land, where the is smoking. And at this stage approach, too much opportunistic degenerates. This is and is in abominables, making the facade, facey, washy, hey there, with the champing eyes and the pleasantry, come on lady, I'm going to help you. But the problem is there are the old ones and others to trying to fog the image for there to be just look, that's something around the through fog. Oh, there he is, does you see? The masking and the screens and everything, and comes to person, and person doesn't have nothing to do, but you see the screen through the fog, and you see, oh, they're going to be, my God, it's so twilight, and like, a very precious, constantly trembling, frightening. I know what I'm going to find. Oh my God! So black mustard, you destroy the person that didn't have nothing to do for the training abominable tricks to make the screening, masking. But the fact, you don't know, are you believing this? I am the officer. You understand? قبل سنة ربط لنا نسيب الشغل بس مع خليل الشغل بيسبوتيكا تخلي الشغل تيشاسين. It's not easy, but neither impossible. But even though we have to be careful, the reason why we call to the sense of wisdom, and wisdom is not something you found in the reality of the days of acquiring collective plus secondary social things that affect my heart, or the things around the sun. Wisdom is something which implies the reality of your person. And you acquire at the growing and understanding the reality of what are we here for, and who we are, and what it means to be us, and what it means to be the reality, and Adonai provides that. But even though Adonai comes for the reality, but not at the styling of Sodom and Gomorrah and Evangelistas, with the pardon of victims. So, all through this, and El Chai with us, and alone, El At Etzicha Etze Elohim Melech Adonai, Almighty God. At the real of our days, to the telling you, you see and you understand criminologist is not making deals and it's not putting orders about favoring some bodies and some friends or business and Machiavello, or Damiros, or Asmatu, or simply Renuncia, or Blesivat Lechati, I command. And so suddenly the reality of Una Soren Kirchner's helping Rousseau to send to Pedro de General Sodom and Gomorrah to capture, rape, and murder because of our making destructions, because of she were associating this whole making disasters all over Brazil and sending to murder people at Europe as well. And it's exactly this. I am a criminologist. I am expertise and I have the curse, and I acquired by the power of the Father to my China, and I've taken everything by teller, making to much other and associating and making a great business on this. And I know when I take lives and Judaism, and I'm going to determine and make a man out of the world. So whoever to be not of my liking and whoever to not be attached my, sorry, I'm not, but you understand. And not near such a position neither like those at all. But attached to the vagina, the phallus, and what it produces. Oh, can I be there because of my face? So, of course, that is not a criminologist. That is a sick shit. Right. Okay. Argentina spreads this class of an abomination all over and pours sickness like them for the world. So suddenly, redaktor motlek lisifish poplet esmot sekli visable despoplet simplitiskad gilak motlek redesef shople despir redakhalk motlek lisifish despoplet sim. Sekli lisifish sim. So what's the difference between poor and poor? Bedlesef motlek Americanism. All right. Sim, Harlem, Manhattan, Soho's, Brooklyn. All right. Brooklyn. All right, sorry. Okay, let's think of a fact like New York. All right, honey, yo, how you doing? Hey, buddy. What's up, yo? Sorry, all right. Hey, Dale, that's me up the Baklachim Sebablechad at Sebasli. High five. I'm Baslechim Osani. Are you okay? It's all just fine, not let. All right. And also that you bring this weird. No, let some of that things I'm a and forgive me. Okay. Second of that is that the boss, let's say, he said. Is Gablet Hamablan Reisti, Hamablan Software Spot, let's see that 7. So suddenly, and whenever we speak about criminology, it's not a term to take in life, and it's something which implies you to understand where are you going to. So whenever you make some local civilian, even though you understand danger associatively and possibly artifact for crime which you cannot dismiss. So at the most naive, if you want the word, at the most impossible looking apparent, and sorry, this appearance or apparently, sorry for the apparent, norska. Att det clear of the blackman says is short the speculation that hit sama and passage, you're not going to check the collect me unplausible, and it implies much further. So suddenly you understand you need not only what it means, the class of professionalism and artifact of supporting as security, as element for research, as the real ever infrastructure elements for you to have not only anathema barriers through the plasticine that feel offensive and the limits you can establish and control for there to not be harms and you do not lose your life through and making the chat for this to happen. Much farther whenever we talk about Unesco, for example, and Kirchner, and the whole sickness this, which are all with the pardon of few. Ejército Argentino, Armada Argentina, Fuerzas Armadas Argentinas, and civil societies of them. So we talk about the roughest ever sickness that you never imagined. You cannot go through saying, okay, I have a government title and I'm going to be respected. There are the enemy within they don't respect except a touch that follows them by China or you die. Sodom and Gomorrah. Understand? So, gender violence implies families, marriages, pregnancy, implies even animal, if you want, for the association of animal protection. Ain't not delivering no human rights, no ethnics, no regret figure, ain't not delivering no repenting by amendment, is not delivers into no class of defension for the mentoring and the intentional, premeditated, associated, artifacted, organized for the megadeth. In no place. If we talk about law and we talk about justice, you cannot come for no class of ethnic, culture, religion, because of this is not like that. And we cannot put in religion in a wide shadow flag for their, it's religious, don't you worry, but see for the mental health and you implies for institutions something which doesn't attach at the clear fact of they are experiencing things which are conscious and intentional for the making. So you treat like a cycle an intentional son of a snake that are clear for what they do and calls for, which is not religious. You're not ethnical. Get it? So it is so complex and so real life that impossible to be, but there is happening. And the problem is how do we acquire elements through. Gender violence implies kids, fetus, pregnant, mothers, fathers, grandmothers, grandfathers, families complete, husbands, wives, sons, daughters, Chasby, Class C, generations, friends, bodies, known, people around, relatives. And this is not an advertisement for politics, which Mr. President Barack Obama is not making, and suffering too much this soul and also threat for the criminality we've spoken clear, right? Sin apparent and seeing as this sin for the Linsbaklechni and Sachim at the real of the plausible unplausible. But this servet format serli, so shetlatsibo blechnachim, the artifact of training to establish control domain and suppress is something like nobody ever imagined impossible to be enemy within. It happens all over, but not everybody is an enemy, for we do not get off of the reality of how to acquire the alert quality about capacity for wisdom, so it implies within. So you don't go there on everybody's an enemy, but you understand the enemy is in. And you try to identify and get clear about the possible enemy and where the enemy is identifiably clear. So you don't proceed into crossing lines that you understand you are not going to survive it. And you're not going to go through a living time through the helping nobody else and never to assessing the reality of your existence for this not be. So suddenly understanding you have problem, stressed, but clearing. There, those that all right, off. Clear. What they are, who they are, you keep alert. You are alert, you understand there is danger, you understand there is risk, you don't come paranoia. You understand there is something you can even do something about. You understand that and you try to understand who is and who is not the best But even though you understand there are that so you don't play paranoia, you play how to control the moment of your own and not with mind control. You understand how to symptomatic is happening. You learn how this do and who they are, and you learn how to possibly you defend yourself and how proceeding into where, what, and who can be and whom cannot. So suddenly in the middle of this chaos, much of plans delivers into this. Justice Paris has worked amazingly and we don't have no problems. Inside, we don't have no problems except with the sarcasm. And in the middle of this all, we found the effect of the instigation, the effect of the logistics supporting for this experiencing instructions and elements for mentoring and associating and organizing crime as conscious and all as clear, everyone, and intentional for heaven, how possibly this plausible. Self-making witchcraft and calling evangelics using power such as spiritual for this to be apparently looking like, and the appearance of everyone to be like a happy machine and closing doors. They go kidnaps, rapes, and murders and said, we know who have to F-word, rape, and murder, violence, gender, and that is Bachahim who got to lead it. We are professionals to making. And they are conscious, and they looks like wax. Oh, poor me. Don't you know? Human rights, don't you see I'm a disability? And whenever you didn't realize you have the disability raping you and murdering you because of said, I got to seal my power. And are conscious and looks as if they would be. Because of they are everyday making it. And profans and uses prostitutes, which are not all in evangelic churches, but has a very, very prostitution and sickness instigating for this to be, saying Lord Caleb as the Lord said to. And El Chai didn't say that. And it's exactly this. Unless against Jews. Adonai doesn't condemn its people, its nation. And like it does not, I am not making a coverage. Adonai doesn't goes to genociding and say because of you did not touch the Christ. Adonai says Mashiach. And there is not religious and there is not ethnic. El Chai himself already testified. So, power, I command is not the reality of the Ingrid Maflachim, and neither something to deliver as the justice and criminology. An element to say, oh, trust me, I don't see my face, I have a church, and thousands of memberships, and everything is just perfect, and we can show you, and we are gonna let you know what is about the Lord thing, and we don't do nothing but to see real good. and you have a demon in front, and the demon is destroying you, and if you don't attach that demon, that you open door, that you didn't have to, is going to send you to be F-word and killed. That's what I'm because of our old way. And saying, all right, he didn't want to try it, give it a 50. And it's not a joke. They do. The problem are victims. Criminality. So suddenly, impossible, implausible, manipulation, abducted, understand witchcraft to, call the witches and call the evangelics and make us look like. And also put me its mind, and I'm going to take it all out, and I'm going to show. We are the criminality of this. We are the exercises of choosing. Oh, God. And something to disappearing, murdering, and destroying, yes, and genociding, and making the business of the day. And I am that, and I have my position, I'm going to have the world, and I'm going to have war and kill and having all I want, and I'm going to go to heaven. This is not religious, and this is not demons at the side of the mental guilt in all believers. We understand what I say? Mental guilt implies the character of the illusory pathology in a sick moment of a person which the mind is ever outer clear and inner clear doesn't express the reality that you can touch and see as human senses. And we are talking about they are experiencing things that human senses, as the natural reality, as flesh and bones, doesn't provide. But we don't have to get crazy on this and open doors to other criminals to make it worse. So suddenly, in the middle of this all, we were working for this to not happen. So criminology implies the character of not scientificism like a witch, but scientificism like a person which understanding the source and the reality and respect for El Chai and understanding what it means, the real denominated shedim, or demons, is exactly Elishel, retivopech machalam. Whenever you see a person behaving that way, you say, oh, can I be possessed? No. The self-corruption, the self-prostitution, the self-destruction, the self-healing implies the character of a person that knows what it's doing, or at least has the purpose to making what it does consciously. And whenever there is conscience, there is responsible. And whenever there is something which is forced, Adonai help us to understand what it is. But even not putting outside or outside Adonai, we are not conscious about El Chai, the reality for this we can discover. Not being a witch or making what they do at all. So suddenly experiencing it doesn't mean you get to understand by making what they do. Ever. You corrupt yourself and you much attempt to control the destruction. It's not good. It's not what science delivers for the world of this. And no other. Then you start to make relativas poplat, maplet you don't have to be dried up. You have to establish how to proceed for. You have to make a line of clearing. You have to produce the field to watch. You have to produce the understanding. It doesn't mean that you don't have capacities. You have to find how you do, who you are, and not deflectively or making up any delusional, delirious whack thing that delivers you in a very idea for creation of forensics Argentina with the Burma view. The insemination of Sodom and them rectums and a very intestinal emission, and proceeding to making this post-galaxy where Christina Kirchner and officialism will be the kings there, and Sodoma will imply the whole of the inseminating creational for they to feel the stars and the, oh my God, I marveled. Because of this is exactly what I'm giving you as picture. And officialism with this, and United Evangelics and expertises considered to be Argentina, armed forces are exactly the same. It's what they do, is who they are.
like it or not, and they are going to train, and they are going to disfigure, and they are going to, oh, you think we are fools? You think we are outsourced? You think that we are going to be? Yes, they are worse than that because of the acidine. But smart enough and dangerous that we don't underestimate. Manipulated sickness that you never imagined. Plausible, real. Bedli sangra b'sef ma' li bisopletti, bedli sangra b'sef li bisoplet b'smati b'spapika, b'rachtish ma' tzimarampa antfo. Redei chama b'rachti abla b'spoplet li tesli, t'v'soplet b'smata li b'smati ispatletim. And you don't know where to start up, you don't know where to making the possible clearing, and you don't know how to establish what, and identifyingly, you much of times don't have no element for corroborating, and how to in place how this comes, and what for, and where, and eat, as FDC responded in, as each of, and as the see every, and the completeness for blessing, how this possibly is something I cannot understand, so dismissing, no. Something you cannot perceive. You don't have the moment of the most ever tenacious capacity and the strengthening your own as possible strongest you to proceed for is one thing. The real is real. Even if you as governmental agent don't have the right moment as clear for you to proceed into is there. Bedli servo b'sef mansam, inzlever b'fechlach k'vitsot tili, bedli k'fechlach k'vitsot b'smat Elishel, and let the k'fechlacham atzimam, we don't obsess. If you don't find it's because of you are being in a very element of you don't understand, much of times is suppressive, other times is deflective, and not by you. And other times is elements for you are not understanding, you are being set up, and the sighting of you delivers into you do not discover or being at the edge of destruction and not your own or yourself only. So, what we were working on were exactly just the state spies on the established this, and that's where I'm going to work with in Netherlands, experiencing what they were doing. And this is not to get schizoid, not delusional, not whack, no psychopath at all. We got to understand we were created, birthed, at the reality of who we exist, and the existence of us has been provided everything that we know, but not to fly our minds to the, I'm going to discover and no. You are going to be who you are, and nothing further but who you are. And it doesn't mean that you're going to be what you thought you were, and you were living all through life. But who you are is going to be understood whenever you understand your real person. And there is not no doctrines